is about a lot of different things. Okay. So when I am helping my clients, sometimes they're like, I feel like, oh, hold on. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. When I'm talking to my clients about manifesting, I'm like, or they say, I thought it was going to be easy. And I'm like, okay, well, manifesting can be easy once you get the foundational bricks laid. Okay. Because there are a lot of different steps with manifesting. We have healing your inner children and their wounds and their trauma that you experienced, helping them process through your emotions, you processing through your emotions, because emotions are the fuel for our manifestations, regulating your central nervous system, teaching your body it's safe to receive, especially around like money, getting in your imagination, learning how to work in the quantum field, how to shift into the identity that you need to be in order to become the person that has those things, right? You have to reprogram your subconscious mind. There are a lot of different things we got going on there. So it is easy. Oh, thank you for the follows. It is easy once you start doing those things. And I feel like a lot of times when people are first getting into manifestation, sometimes there's like a lot of shame and guilt around that, because when I first started, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to think about my things and then they'll come in. And sometimes when we're listening to videos like the law of assumption and the law of attraction, now this is not representative of everybody, okay? But I've listened to people that are like, oh, well, if you just do this many number of affirmations or you just do this journaling, then everything is going to work out for you. And I'm like, that is why there's so many people out here that are not receiving the things that they want, because they're missing a lot of key fundamental steps within these processes. Okay, so we're going to talk about a couple of them today. Excuse me, there's this fly buzzing around. Okay, so manifestation is about demonstration. It's about imagination. It is about surrender. Okay, so we're going to talk about all those a little bit here. So demonstration is you're the co-creator of your life. Like, yeah, the universe has your back and it's helping you, but like you are the universe. You are creating your reality. Everything that you have manifested into your life is your creation. And that triggers people sometimes because they're like, well, I have all this negative stuff in my life. I didn't do that purposefully. We're always manifesting. Always manifesting. We resonate with certain frequencies and pull those in. So you got to change your frequency to change what you're pulling in, right? So the reason that we manifest negative things a lot of times is because you have subconscious mindset programming that you received as a child from your parents, teachers, and guardians. Hey, Brandon, from your parents, teachers, and guardians that taught you negative manifestation things. Okay. They said money is really hard to come by, right? Or you can't trust anybody. Oh, thank y'all. Hey, Jenny. Or you can't trust anyone. Or rich people are evil, or you have to work super diligently, like you have to grind and hustle for your manifestations, right? And so you hear that over and over and over again, and you also pick up other people's trauma projections. Like, manifesting can be really easy, but if you learn techniques from people that say it's extremely difficult, and they're coming from their own unworthiness and low confidence and low self-esteem, well, you're learning how to manifest that way. They may not call it manifesting, but we're always manifesting. And so if you are not receiving the things that you want because of these negative manifestation things that we've picked up, it's not your fault. Okay, kids are not born with self-limiting beliefs. They're not born with trauma. They're just like a blank slate. Okay, everything that you learn is picked up. So that is why, like, people at the top 1% up here, the super wealthy people, they're born into families that have good money mindset. They're like, oh, money is easy. Money comes to me all the time. Money's neutral. It's us empaths and light workers who attach deservingness to it. You know what I mean? So they don't have all those filter lenses that we do. But that's not your fault. You probably learned that from parents, teachers, and guardians. But it is your responsibility to go in and release those energetic cords and reprogram your subconscious and help your inner children heal so that you can all move forward together in a more abundant and prosperous life, right? So demonstration. First thing is, can you even imagine yourself with those things? Can you imagine the life that you want to be in? Because when I'm working with clients sometimes and we're starting at ground zero and I'm like, okay, well, what do you want in your life? And they're like, well, I want this, and this. And I'm like, okay, well, what are we doing to get there? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, why do you not know? And they say, because I don't really believe. Before we even get to belief or knowing, we have to just literally imagine ourselves there. Because if you cannot imagine yourself in that life, then you are not going to be a vibrational match and you're not going to receive the downloads to get there, right? Like when I first started my business, not this one, but my other one, my doggy daycare, I had to be open to like really feeling like I can own a business. I don't know how I will do that. I just know that I will. And I kept asking myself, like, what would life look like if I owned one, right? And then one day, I got the intuitive download from my higher self and my guides, me, the universe, of like, oh, why don't you open a doggy daycare? And I was like, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't know anything about running a business. But instead of saying, oh, could it be me? I just kept envisioning myself there and saying, okay, well, maybe it would look like this. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do that. And then I opened it. And then I ran that for 7 years. And I did the same thing with my spiritual coaching practice. Or like lots of different things that I've tried to manifest. You got to envision and imagine yourself there first. Like the other day, I went to Barnes & Noble and I was working on planning my son and I's vacation to Wisconsin. And I was like, okay, universe, I'm going to meet you halfway with the demonstration piece. Okay, first I'm going to imagine him and me at these water parks. Okay, like really like get in there. Okay, like in your vision. Okay, and like I'm pretending that him and I is really about pretending. Like manifestation is pretending your way there until it actualizes in your outer reality. Like it's literally like being a kid. And the more that you do it, the stronger and stronger it gets, and it elicits like emotions within you. And all of a sudden your emotional, vibrational match to the manifestations, and the universe has to bring it to you because that's the person that you are. Like you pull in what you are resonant for, right? So I'm sitting here in my imagination. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. Like being on these rides and the water splashing my face and we're all running around and these are all the different places we're going to and all this stuff, right? So then I go to Barnes & Noble and I'm like, I'm going to plan this entire vacation. I'm going to pick all the different restaurants we go to. I'm going to pick all the different places that we visit. I'm going to pick the hotel that we're going to stay at, just all this stuff. I looked at different airplane tickets. I looked at how we're going to get from the airport to Wisconsin, right? Because it's like 40 minutes away. Like I planned it out to a T. And I said, universe, I want you to figure this out for me, but I am meeting you halfway by envisioning myself there and saying, I know that this is possible, and taking action steps. And my action steps were planning it out, okay, and having belief and faith that it would. And then the next day, I told somebody, I was like, hey, me and Benny are going to go to Wisconsin, the water park capital of the world. Or the United States, not the world, but the United States. And they're like, oh, I have a whole bunch of airplane miles built up on my credit card. Do you want to use them? And I was like, yeah. I was like, that would be great. And it's going to pay for the airplane tickets. That was like $1,000 manifestation. That is because I envisioned and imagined myself there. And I took inspired action steps, demonstration, and I surrendered to my desires, and I said, I want this, and so it is. And then the airplane tickets got taken care of. That's just part of it. There's other things too. Like there's a hotel, there's all this stuff. I'm not worried about it. Okay, and once you do something like that, you shock yourself. I wasn't shocked because I manifested some wild stuff in my life. Like last year I manifested a free trip to Disney World. Okay, but you can do these things if you can first imagine yourself there. It doesn't matter what it is. If you want to be in a loving relationship, if you want to be in your dream home, If you want to have the financial bracket that you want to be in, if you want to travel all around the world, it doesn't matter what it is, but you have to imagine yourself there first. Not worrying about the hows and whys, it does not matter. You will not receive the downloads and guidance from your higher self if you cannot even envision and imagine yourself there first. Because you are not the person to receive that until you feel it in your body. Okay? It does not matter what the manifestation is, it matters what that emotion is. What emotion is your dream car going to bring you? What emotion is money going to bring you? The loving relationship, your dream home. What is the emotion? You have to get in your imagination and envision what you're trying to bring in and feel that emotion beforehand. Before you get it. Then you're a vibrational match, and then it naturally comes to you. Now, are there other things that you need to do? Sure. Like healing our inner children. If they've got trauma and wounds that make you have low confidence and low self-esteem, or you have like blockages on how big you can imagine for self because you were made to play small in life, or your parents held too high of expectations on you or too low expectations, right? But those things naturally also get healed when you're a vibrational frequency match, because now you're in a different consciousness space, and now you're not your inner child and living through their consciousness. You are the higher version, and now you are separated from the trauma. Like, that is literally how I have healed my inner children, in becoming that higher consciousness and saying, I am not you. I understand that those things happened, but I am here to help you through them, right? Because typically when we are caught in behavioral patterns that are not serving us, it is coming from childhood. That is the root of most often what I see with my clients. But people skip that and they wonder why they're stuck. And that is like the most fundamental thing altogether. Like, anytime I'm doing sessions with people or my mentorship programs, I'm like, where are we at with our inner children? Because I'm going to give you an example. So, has anybody ever been to a family function and you've been doing so good on your spiritual awakening journey? Like, you are thriving, you're doing amazing. And then you go to the family function and all of a sudden you turn back into old you. And you're triggered, and your family is hurting your feelings, and you're just all up in your feels. And I'm not saying that that's, family's family sometimes, but it's like almost like you become a child again. And you're like, what the heck? You get home and you're like, oh my God, what happened? Like, why did I get triggered like that? Why did I let them hurt my feelings? Why did I let them have so much power over me? That's because your inner child came to the forefront of your consciousness and took over. They are trying to protect you and keep you safe. And they're like, oh, I've seen this before. I know how to handle this, just like we did when we were a child. And so your inner child is coming out. I'm not saying they just like take over. Like, it's not like you become a robot or whatever. But that PTSD in your body kicks up. PTSD is created through emotions attaching to memories. And those thoughts in your subconscious, they're all kind of like webbed up together. So especially when you get around family members, it just brings all that PTSD to the surface. And if you have not healed those things with your inner children, then when you have those interactions, they are taking over your consciousness. And you are the inner child. That's where you have to come in as a higher self and help them heal through those things. Same thing like with your manifestations. If your manifestations are not coming in, you got to dig to the root of why. There's only so far that affirmations will take you, and journaling and all of these like ritualistic things. Those are great, and I highly recommend doing them because they help you reprogram your subconscious. But if you don't get to the root of why you don't believe your manifestations will work for you or come in, it's going to be a long road. Okay, because there's usually inner children in there that were told they're not good enough, that they're never going to be anything, or that they have to be perfect, and they're dealing with imposter syndrome, abandonment, trust wounds. We're worried the universe is going to abandon us. We're worried we're going to abandon ourselves. Like, you have to step up as the higher self and say, hey, I know that those things happened. I totally understand that, and you were valid for feeling these things, but we are not living in that life anymore. Like, there was a time where my inner children were just completely, I was living through their state of consciousness with my finances, because all I saw when I was a child is lack and scarcity, and I had to come in and really do some like upheaving work with them and say, like, hey, we're not that person anymore. We don't live that life. You got to trust me to become the higher self and lead us to a different existence and experience, right? But people sometimes don't want to look at that stuff because it hurts. It does. I'm not saying that inner child healing is easy. It is not. Because you have all these unprocessed emotions from childhood that hurt to feel. Like, most of us are walking around with inner children that never got to express their anger or their sadness or their frustration or feeling lost or feeling less than or being made play small or too high of expectations, all that stuff. And I totally get it, because I have lived and breathed that experience as well. But I was like, well, if we don't do anything different, then we'll always be at this state of being. And one of the other problems I see is that nobody really, I don't want to say nobody, but a lot of people are not taught how to process their emotions. I wasn't taught. Is anybody else in here not taught how to process your emotions? Let me know in the comments. Like, have you always been a very logical and analytical person and been kind of like disassociated from them? Sometimes you need to do that because it's the trauma response from childhood. Like, it was very unsafe for you to feel your emotions. Like, you would get punished for that. Or you had very strong energetic field parents or guardians that were like, oh, shut up and stop crying, or it's not that big of a deal. Like, you just got invalidated over and over again. You know what I mean? The problem with that, okay, with manifesting specifically, is that you have to be in tune with your emotions in order to manifest. You have to feel your emotions in order to open up your psychic gifts. You have to be in your touch with your emotions in order to be in your imagination. I went into my closet to get mad. Yeah, I didn't have, same. I stuffed all that stuff down. And if you're not processing your emotions, it creates anxiety and depression and disease. And it creates PTSD in your body. And so you have to get that heavy, dense, sludgy energy out of your body in order to feel good. Right? Because I lived so many years with horrible anxiety and depression and eating disorder and body dysmorphia and all that stuff. That wasn't my fault. That's stuff that happened to me, right? But my life wasn't getting any better until I learned to sit with my stuff and process my emotions. Because I just felt so heavy and dense, and I felt so much fear, right? When you're experiencing heavy, dense emotions like that, it's very easy to attach to self-limiting beliefs and catastrophizing and anxiety thought loops, like obsessive thoughts. It's so easy to attach to those things. And then when you're feeling those things, you're manifesting those things into your life. Like, I built this whole entire life around me that was awful. People I didn't resonate with, jobs I didn't resonate with. I was burnt out, masking all the time, right? I did that. I manifested those things into my life. It was not my fault, because I didn't have any of this information. Nobody teaches us these things. But once I started figuring them out, I was like, oh snap. All of this stuff is because this is what my internal state is. You pull in what you are frequency matched for. And I want to say, that's a hard truth for people to swallow sometimes, because it's like, well, so you're telling me, I'm just going to give an example, okay? So you're telling me that I pulled in an abusive, narcissistic relationship, which I did. I lived through one, and it was not great. Okay. And if I'm looking at it from that perspective, like you couldn't have told me that when I was in that relationship. I wouldn't have understood, right? And I would have gotten very triggered by that. I'd be like, what do you mean? What I mean is, when I was a child, I had a narcissist that was raising me, and then I had abandonment and trust wounds from my mom, and she was like in and out with men, and I had some like very traumatic things happen with me with men when I was younger, and like some other stuff happened. Okay, so my lenses of how I see and interact with the world is to pull in negative people that will hurt me, because that is how I was raised, and that is all that I saw. So did I intentionally manifest that relationship? No. But that's what my subconscious was set to pull in. Does that make sense? Like, it's not my inner children's fault. It's not my teens' fault. It's not younger me's fault. It just is what it is, right? I also didn't love myself at all. I hated myself. There was a time in my life where I hated myself. I was crying on the bathroom floor. I was thinking about this morning. I was crying on the bathroom floor, and I was screaming out to the universe, I will do anything to be a different person. I will do whatever it takes to change my life. Now, little did I know that was going to bring on the most intense dark night of the soul. The universe said, bet. The universe was like, okay. And that was very intense. But I had to go on this like extremely deep self-love journey. Yeah. It was super intense. Hey, Michelle, I'm glad that you're vibing with me. It was very intense, but I'm so thankful for it now. On the other side, it was horrible while I was going through it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was very awful. But now, like, I realize I would not be who I am today without doing that. I had to literally sit with all of my trauma and my low self-worth and face it. And once I faced it, in my adulthood, like what was going on in my experience right now, not right now, but back then once I cleared that level out, then I can start working with my inner children, the root of these things, and help them build confidence, and help them build self-esteem, and help them see what is possible for our life. And that is when my manifestations started coming in. That is when my consciousness raised like so high to start understanding these manifestation concepts and how these things are all interwebbed and interwoven with one another. Like, a lot of us are repelling our manifestations away from us because of unhealed wounds. Like, you may say, I want to have a lot more money, but your body sees money as scary. Your body sees money as stress, more problems. Rich people are evil. It kicks on your central nervous system and your fight or flight when you're thinking about money. And so your body's like, you consciously as the multidimensional being is like, I would love to have money. I can travel. I can do all the things I want to do. And your body is saying, get that away from me. I do not like that. It brings up negative feelings and emotions. That is not, you have mixed signals going out into the universe. Okay? And that is something that when I first started manifesting, I didn't know that. And I started feeling so shameful and guilty. I'm like, why does everybody else get what they want? Why are all these other people out here thriving and it's easy for them to manifest? You know what I mean? It's because I didn't have all the keys. I didn't have a deeper understanding of how these things work. So I'm going to give you an example. Okay. Yes, that's exactly what I'm dealing with right now. Yeah. I'm going to show you how this works. This is what I will teach all day long. So people like really understand on a deep level, because once you understand it, now we can start working backwards to heal. Okay. So this is what happens with your manifestations if you get stressed and anxious thinking about them. Okay, we're going to take money because money's the thing I'm talking about in my content right now. Okay, so let's say we have a negative experience with money, a perceived negative experience with money. Because most oftentimes when you have a negative experience with money, it doesn't have anything to do with money. It has to do with a person. It has to do with your manifestation abilities. And then when it doesn't work out, you think that it's money. But it's actually like a missing link in the chain within your processes. Okay? Because money is neutral. Okay? Money is just literally energy. There's no good and bad. There's no right and wrong. It's literally just energy. It's abundance energy. Okay. So perceived negative experience. This is your parents arguing about money. This is you and your partner arguing about money. This is you getting stress and anxious if you're able to pay your bills. This is somebody weaponizing money against you. This is you on social media watching people talk about rich people that are doing horrible things. Like, just think in your mind, what is the last negative experience that I had with money? Okay. So that negative experience goes into your subconscious as a memory. Way back there. Okay. You may not remember that memory, but your subconscious does. Your subconscious keeps track of everything that happens in your whole entire life. Okay. So now that memory is back there. When you have that experience, or you hear those limiting beliefs, or whatever, the memory goes back, and now your subconscious is blipping up thoughts. Okay. Money is the root of all evil. There's never enough. Wish it could be me. I'm not worthy. I'm not deserving. Who has intrusive thoughts like that all day long? Okay. Those thoughts give you an emotional reaction. You start to feel angry. You start to feel sad. You feel frustrated. You feel lost. Like just a very negative emotion. Okay. Once you attach a thought to an emotion, it becomes a belief. Especially if you do it over and over and over again, that belief gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay. Now that belief kicks on your central nervous system and you go in fight or flight. So like with money, when we think about it, we start getting anxious and we start having these fear thoughts come up. And then we start saying, oh no, and trying to figure out, like a contingency plan, like all this stuff, right? Okay. That creates PTSD in your body. PTSD is when you have emotions and memories tied up with one another. Okay. So next time you have a perceived negative experience with money, it reignites the PTSD and then puts it in your subconscious as another memory, and the whole cycle starts over again. And people are experiencing that every single day of their life. And it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Yeah. That's the cycle that people get trapped in and why they can't move into a new financial bracket. It is literally building layers and layers and layers in your body, and your subconscious does not know the difference between what is in your imagination and what is in your outer reality. And whatever you're putting in your subconscious, it will do everything in its power to prove to you in your outer reality that is true. So if you say money is the root of all evil, rich people are evil, there's never enough, I'm broke, couldn't be me, I'm super stressed and anxious about my bills, I'm not going to have enough money, I am not going to be able to achieve my dreams, all this stuff, your subconscious takes that literally, and it says, okay, bet, and then we'll give you that in your outer experience. You have to change the input that you are putting in, and you have to feel good when you think about your manifestations, because otherwise you are repelling them away from you. Like, think about something that you're trying to manifest. Does it bring you amazing, beautiful, majestic, magical, whimsical feelings when you think about it? Or are you getting stressed and anxious and constricting in fear? Well, then your subconscious says, oh, you're feeling fear, anxiety, stress, self-limiting beliefs when you think about this house or car. Okay, let me bring you more. And then that's what you experience. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a better depiction of how we get caught in these like trauma cycle loops. You have to reset the energetic foundations around your manifestations in order to see a different experience outside of yourself. Yet so very hard when you set out to deal with the trauma. Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, it's not easy to dig up all that stuff and feel those things. But like when I'm helping my clients, I'm like, listen, you can either heal the trauma as though you're still living the trauma, and that is very difficult. Or you can become the higher self in the scenario and help your inner children heal with the trauma. Because that's not you anymore. That stuff happened in the past, and it's a real experience. However, if you help your inner children heal with it, instead of you healing as the inner child, it's a lot easier to detach and process it. Like when I was my trauma from my past, it was too overwhelming to deal with. But when I learned how to heal my inner children, now I'm coming in and being the parent, the teacher, the guardian to them, and walking them through it and helping them process their emotions a lot easier. That's why I teach inner child healing so much, because it was like fundamentally shifting for me in my experience, not just with like manifestation, but like healing. Okay, what questions do we have about manifesting or inner child healing or becoming a vibrational match to your desires? Exactly. Once you detach and understand the process, it's so beautifully possible. Yeah, you're still going to have to feel that stuff. Like there's probably years worth of anger and sadness and frustration. Like there's still things that I process with my inner children to this day that I'm like, dang, I didn't know that was still down there. Right? So you actually have to feel it in your body. Like when I'm helping an inner child deal with anger or sadness, like I'm like, okay, well, your feelings are totally valid, but I want you to know we're not living that experience anymore. And I will come in and hold your hands and we will process it in our body together. And then when we're done, we're going to go do something fun together. And I will literally lay on the floor, be crying, my central nervous system kicked on, super, super angry, just like really viscerally feeling those emotions. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, that's just something I'm channeling. That is not my forever experience. That is not my forever state of being. This is just right now. And once you start learning how to get those emotions out of your body, they are so much easier to process. Like I can get really, really triggered or angry or, frustrated or sad. If I take a couple, minutes or hours sometimes to process that stuff, then I'm done. And now I'm making forward movement. So much easier. Okay. Because there's so many people that are worried that if they lean into their emotions, that they're going to go back into anxiety and depression like they were in the past. But the thing is, if you are a very self-aware person and you're on a spiritual awakening journey, I bet you have picked up a lot of tools and resources and you're actually a completely different person than you were in the past. I'm a completely different person than I was 10 years ago. And I'm not handling things like I would in the past. But those inner children and teens within me think that if I lean in, that means we're going to revert back. And that's where I have to come in and say, like, no, that's why I'm here. Like, I am here to make sure that doesn't happen, right? Like, it won't happen because I am not that person anymore. We are not that person anymore. I'm 55, 2 failed marriages, second, hopefully it's okay if I read this out loud. 2 failed marriages, second was a narcissist, lots of stuff fun to work through, but I've just started breaking through and manifested a new job and writing a manifestation. Hi, oh, that's so exciting. Good for you. I'm so excited. Congratulations. come to your manifestations. That's great. It sounds like you've probably done a lot of processing through these things. Processing through these things clears the path. When you want to manifest a new life for yourself, you have to be able to tap into your imagination. And when you are living in fear and anxiety and constrictedness, you are in your bottom chakras, which are safety and security in the known. That is that heavy, dense energy. It is very difficult to be in your imagination when you are in fear. And that's exactly where you need to be, up there. if you are down in your bottom chakras, worried about your safety and security and your foundations. I've just found you recently, divine right timing. Oh, I'm so glad to have you part of the community, Lisa. But you really got to learn how to manifest in the quantum field, which is in your imagination. Your subconscious does not know the difference between something that is happening in your imagination and you actually emotionally feeling it than to it happening outside of you. And if you can pull that up in your imagination on the daily, your subconscious will be like, oh my God, this is our new reality. And then it will start to bring you those things in your outer reality. Okay. Where people get tripped up is that your inner children inside are saying it's not safe to be in my imagination. My parents, teachers, guardians said, oh, that stuff doesn't matter. Magic's not real. You need to be more adult-like. You need to be more logical and analytical. Get your head out of the clouds, blah, blah, blah. You know, all that stuff. And so your inner children are like, got your imagination on lockdown. And they're like, no, it's safer to stay where we're at. Now we're bringing our ego into play. Okay. And our ego is there to keep you safe. It loves you. Your self-limiting beliefs love you. They're there to help you grow and evolve. They're there as a safety mechanism. You have to come in as the higher self, the multidimensional being of light, and be like, thanks, I appreciate that. Thank you. But I need to make a different choice here. And I need you to get in the passenger seat. Same thing with your inner children. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you for trying to protect me and keep us safe. I need you to get in the passenger seat. You cannot live from your childhood state of consciousness. They can come along with you on the journey. And there's some times where you do want to be in your childlike state of consciousness. Once you create safety with your inner children to manifest through your imagination, they can actually help you manifest wild things in your life. Because children are tapped into different dimensional planes and frequencies and tapped into their imagination and their magic and their whimsy. They don't have all the adult filter stress lenses that we do, right? So once you unravel trauma around them and help create a loving space for them to be free, they can help you blast open your upper chakras. Like, you be manifesting stuff that you as an adult didn't think you were capable of. Okay. They're like a powerhouse of imagination. But you got to create a safe space for them to let go. Because there's so many of us that were told, like, oh, this stuff's evil, magic's not real, you know, you need to, you know, be more responsible, you know, all this stuff. When that is the opposite of what is true. The reason people don't manifest the things they want is because they're logical and analytical. Like, people are like, I don't understand why my manifestations are coming in. Well, if you just keep doing the same thing you've been doing, then you will get the exact same results. And again, it's not their fault. Like, people aren't teaching always. That's not representative of everybody, okay? But people are not teaching all of these things working in tandem with one another. They're only teaching pieces of it, right? And that's where I felt like super shameful and guilty. I'm like, well, obviously I can't manifest. Obviously, this is not meant for me. I'm going to go back up here and read some of these comments. I manifested my stay-at-home job because after I quit my warehouse job, I said I'd never do it again. Oh, I'm so excited for you. Congratulations on getting that stay-at-home job. You got to envision yourself there first. Don't worry about the house. We're going to talk about that real quick, but I started using my imagination again. This is so serendipitous. Yay. Hey, Nikki, we're talking about manifesting and all the different steps. Okay, so when we're manifesting, hey, how are you doing? When we're manifesting, you have to let go of the hows and the whys and the whens. Okay, what we're trying to do is be a vibrational match, frequency match, and you will naturally get the downloads. You will get the intuitive pings. You will get the inspired action steps to take. Okay, I'm going to give you an example of this. Okay, so the other day, I was like, I want to put together some like free things for my community, for y'all. And I was like, I'm going to talk about quantum manifesting and make like a little mini training. I'm going to make one about releasing your self-limiting beliefs. I was like, I think I want to do something else too. Okay, and so I worked out. I did like a 20-minute dance workout. And then I did some stretching. And I said, this is what I want. I want to download a new idea. Okay. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I just want a new idea. Okay. So I put it out there, my desire. I surrendered and I took action steps by getting cortisol and stress out of my body to clear my channels of receiving. Okay. So I worked out, got the stress hormones out. I'm stretching in my imagination up here, okay? And all of a sudden I got this download and it was like, oh, I should do a 7-day EFT tapping challenge for everybody to participate in so we can reset your chakra system. And I was like, oh, this is how I'll do it. And the whole entire thing downloaded. And I was like, great. Again, demonstration, imagination, surrender. We cannot just sit on our couch and wait for $1 million to get into our bank account, or wait for our dream home to manifest, or wait for our car. You have to meet the universe halfway and imagine yourself there, get in the emotional state, and take inspired action steps towards your goals. That is how I have successfully ran 2 businesses and completely shifted my whole entire life into a different state of being and a different person. I say, what can I do today to get me closer to my goals? How can I heal at a deeper level? How can I reprogram my subconscious? How can I take care of my physical body better? Because your physical body is a channeler. If you're not taking care of your physical body, it's very difficult to manifest. Because you're in your bottom chakras. Everybody thinks like your spiritual gifts are connected. Hey, Jason, hey. Are connected to, your upper chakras, and they are. Okay. But your chakras are also connected to your organs. They're connected to your meridian lines. Those things only run as well as your body is running. Okay, so if we are not getting stress out of our body by some type of physical activity, if we're not drinking a lot of water, if we're not eating things that are filling our cup back up, if we're not going outside and getting sunshine, if we're, all of these things, they all work together. Okay, so we have to be taking care of ourselves. What were the 3 key words again? Oh, imagination, demonstration, and surrender. Surrendering doesn't mean not doing anything. Surrender means believing that your desires are possible for you. Surrendering to your desires. And saying, sometimes I don't know how I'm going to make that happen. I just know that it will. And I will make a commitment to myself and my dreams that I will take inspired action steps every single day. And I will take care of myself. And I will love myself. And I will reach out for support. And I will do the things that I need to do on my end to meet the universe halfway. And then the universe will bring me those things. It is a co-collaborative experience, if you will. Because the universe is you, right? Universe, you. It's a different perspective lens. There's you as the human. Then there's you as the multidimensional being that sits above this human experience. Then there's you as source. So when people are talking about like, oh, you know, the universe is watching out over me, that's you in a much bigger, expanded form. All of these manifestation tricks and tips and rituals and like all this stuff, all it is a permission slip. It is a permission slip for you to believe in yourself. It is a way for you to keep abundance and prosperity at the forefront of your mind. Every day. Do you need those manifestation things? At the end of the day, no. Because, and that's if you're at a level of I fully 1,000, a million, bajillion % believe in myself. Because I am everything and everything is me. Where we need the manifestation things like the rituals and subconscious mindset reprogramming and all that is because we have all these filter lenses that have been placed over us. The limiting beliefs, the trauma, the programming, right? So those manifestation things are helping you remove those, right? But at the end of the day, you are the creator, you are source, you are an abundant and prosperous being. That's why empaths and light workers sometimes get really caught up with deservingness, and that's a filter lens. Like, oh, well, I have to become this good of a person in order to receive, because we're very compassionate. We love helping other people. We love our community. We love giving back and all this stuff. But like, that doesn't have anything to do with you being a prosperous and abundant person and needing to deserve things. Like, that's just you at a core. But if you say, I need to become this or do this to receive, you are blocking yourself. Because that is a hamster wheel you forever be on. If you are a self-aware light worker, empath, okay, there's never going to be a time where you are good enough. That is a forever hamster wheel. The moment that you say, I am exactly who I need to be in order to receive, that's all you need. That's it. That is where the real magic starts happening. And you're like, I always will be growing and evolving, because you will. That's the type of person that you are. I will always grow. I will always evolve. I will always learn. But there's no level that I need to reach. Are there filter lenses that you can take off and work on? Sure. Childhood in church where salvation. Oh yeah, there's a lot of religious programming that I see with like deservingness of your desires. For sure. Yeah. That is one of the reasons that I was like blocked up for a long time with my manifestations, because religious programming. Okay, saying you need to wait till you get to heaven to have your riches, or you need to be, you know, a good person. The people who are at the top, like the 1%, they don't have these archetypes running. They don't have I need to deserve in order to receive. That is why they're doing jacked up stuff. They can do the most evil, horrendous, horrific things, and they still make billions of dollars. Because they don't see they don't have that programming running about deservingness. Money, specifically, is a neutral thing. It depends on the person who is putting the intentions behind it. That is why it is so fundamentally important right now that the empaths and light workers heal their money wounds. Because what would happen if all of us had the majority of the money. That is also why rich people are evil is pushed down our throat in social media and movies, because they know what would happen if we had the majority of the money. So they scare you. And they make you have all these weird paradigms of deservingness with money. Social media is and all these things, just because you see something like that does not mean that it is true for the all. Like, it is so important that you find evidence-based reasons for your subconscious about why something is not for the whole. There are tons of people that are ridiculously rich. I don't want to say ridiculously rich, like I'm glad they're rich. Okay. Ridiculous is sometimes like a negative connotation. They have bukus of money and are doing amazing, incredible things with it. They are giving back to their community and helping the collective, and they're helping other people thrive and just live such a better life, but you don't see that. You have to go search for it. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that it's pushed down our throat that evil people, that rich people are only doing evil things? Why do you think that is? Right. It is an agenda. It is not true for the whole. Social media and the news, a lot of times, are a way, is a money-making machine. Fear makes money. Fear drives ratings. Fear keeps money in the pockets of people who don't necessarily need to be the ones that have all of it. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. But you have to go search these things. This is what I mean, where you have to reprogram your own subconscious. Right? Like, I was told growing up that rich people are evil. Well, that's not true. That's true in some cases. That's not true in all cases. But as a child, I took that literally and said, okay, well, I don't want to be rich because that means that I'm going to change. Or that means that I'll be evil. Right? And then I saw it in movies, and I saw it on TV, and I saw it on social media. And so it just kept reiterating that as evidence. But that's not true. It's true in some cases. You only need one piece of evidence for your subconscious to start letting go of a limiting belief. You got to keep going back to it. Well, Dolly Parton out here doing a whole bunch of wonderful things. Elton John out here doing a whole bunch of wonderful things. Oprah out here doing, Tony Robbins. They're all doing out here doing these wonderful things. Okay? Focus on that. You will be that person. Why do you think that you would just change into like this whole other person? Like, yeah, you would just change into a more prosperous and abundant person that can help more people on a bigger scale. Like, that was a big fear of mine in my business that my inner kids were running of, oh, well, if we get more successful, then that means that we're not going to help people like we do in the capacity that we do now. And then I had to come in as a higher self and be like, why would you think that? Like, yeah, maybe we don't help people one-on-one in coaching programs, even though I love doing that now. Like, that's my jam, that's my vibe. But I was like, what if we get to a point where we're getting paid to like fly all over the world and speak to larger audiences so we can have an even more bigger reach? It may change the way that I'm doing things, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't do those, because I have a deep internal drive to help people transform. That's never going away. I've always been like that since I was a child. I've always wanted to help people feel better. Even when I wasn't doing coaching or energy healing, I was always the person that people come to, and I would always lift them up, and I would always help them see things in different perspectives, and I would help them heal, whether I knew I was doing it consciously or not. It will never change about you. Okay? Because that is who you are at a fundamental level. You take somebody who's doing evil, nasty things, and you give them a whole bunch of money, they're just going to do more evil, nasty things. But that has nothing to do with you. Hello, your video spoke to me, so I came in. Oh, thank you. I'm glad to have you in the community. I'm glad they resonated with you. But that doesn't mean, oh, thank you. That doesn't mean that you're going to be that person. You know what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with you. That is somebody else's agenda. Okay? You're just going to do even more amazing things. Like, think about that. What if you had $10 million in your bank account? What would you do with it? Are you just going to sit in your house all day? Probably not. You probably travel all around the world and be blessing people. Like, I would just be handing out $100, $1,000 to like amazing beings of light. I would just be blessing people every day, all day long. In a different capacity. Okay? All my life, I've had the same dream of talking to a group of people with a message of hope, literally a repetitive dream. Your desires are there because you are capable of them. There is a version of you out in the ethers, out in the cosmos, that has already manifested those things. That is what you are perceiving. That is why you keep having dreams about it. Like when I was a child, I said, I'm going to be a millionaire. I am going to be a psychologist, and I am going to run a business. I knew that deep within my soul, even though I grew up in a wildly different experience, but I knew all of those things came into fruition, every single one of them, because as a child, I was perceiving future me. I didn't know how I was going to make those happen. I just knew that I was, and then I did. And there are things out in my future that I'm like, wow, these are some really big dreams, but I just know they're going to happen. Like, there's no shadow of a doubt in my mind. Because if I can dream it, it means I can achieve it because it's already done. Now, whether you take the inspired action steps, whether you follow the intuitive nudges, whether you believe in what you know in yourself, that's up to you. Like when I'm doing Akashic Record, so with people or looking at their soul contracts, I'm like, there is a version of you out there that's already there. If you listen to them and do the things that you need to do, you will end up there. But there's so many people that like doubt and self-limiting beliefs and their childhood trauma and letting other people's perceptions and other people's trauma and other people feed fear and doubt into their mind, trip them up, and they get stuck. But those desires are there for a reason. It's up to you to push through those things in order to become that person, right? Like, you have to, let's say that you want to get in your dream home or have your dream car, or you want to have $1 million in the bank, or you want to be a boss babe CEO, whatever you want to do, okay? What are you doing today to get there? Whether it's healing, reprogramming your subconscious, getting in your imagination, personifying your higher self and talking to them and saying, what do I need to do here? That is the way that you get there. Right? But you have to do those things every single day. And people think like, oh, this is going to take me a long time to do. Manifesting in the 3D realm does take a long time. When you manifest through the quantum realm, time doesn't work the same there. Okay? Like, I'm 33 and I have owned 2 businesses now. Already made $1 million. Like, I learned how to be an energy healer and a coach. Like, I've done all these like wild things, and it's because time doesn't work the same for me now. You can't, like, when you're tapped into the Akasha field and the quantum field, the inspired action steps and the downloads that you get and the opportunities and experiences that come to you are vastly different than you working in the 3D paradigm, in the masculine energy. Does Bob Proctor's paradigm shift work? Is that similar to changing your self-limiting beliefs? I love Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor is great. I listen to him all the time. What do you mind? His paradigm shift work? For sure. Okay, so the paradigm shift that he's talking about is there's a quantum twin of you out in the ethers and the cosmos. Okay. There are a whole bunch of parallel realities. Every time you make a choice, it creates a different version of you. Okay, this is where timeline shifting comes in and quantum shifting. So there is a version out there that already has all the things that you want. You have to do the stuff on your end over here with reprogramming your subconscious, healing your inner children, regulating your central nervous system, processing your emotions, becoming a vibrational frequency match, and then you shift into that person. Because that person has already done those things to get those things. You literally like launch yourself into a new reality. I have done that time and time again where like I will just completely quantum shift and life looks entirely different. But I had to do all that stuff to get there. And that's what Bob Proctor talks about. Like he said the same things I'll be saying. Or I'll say the same thing that he says. Cause he been out here for a much longer time than I have. Same thing. I just say it in different terminology sometimes. But he's basically saying the same thing, just in different lenses, if you will. So does anybody have any questions about manifesting? If you are wanting to make these shifts and you need a clear plan, like, because sometimes people get caught up on the inspired action plan. They're like, I don't know what action steps to take. I don't know how to process my emotions. I don't know how to connect to my inner child. I don't know how to reprogram my subconscious. I don't know how to regulate my central nervous system. If you are at any of these places, I have two different options. We can work one-on-one. You can apply to work one-on-one. I do individual sessions. I have a mentorship program where we work together for 3 months. That's a whole identity shift. Or you can download my Money Magnet Masterclass at the top of my page. It's for money, like specifically, but honestly, if you apply the things that I talk about, it's for anything. I actually want to put together a whole new course that's just like manifesting overall, because these things are for everything. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you want a romantic relationship, or to bring in your soul tribe, or to be in the career of your dreams, or your car, or your house, or your money. Like, it literally doesn't matter. It's for whatever. And so the masterclass I have breaks all these things down step by step. And it gives you an actionable plan. But if you're like, I have these very specific dreams and I need help achieving them and I need to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing, I can help you with that. And you can find all that at the top of my page. Let me see if I missed anything up here. Okay, what was everybody's biggest takeaway today? You feel like you were able to shift anything with our chats, whether it is a limiting belief or what you're capable of or how to achieve your dreams? Let me know in the comments. And I believe in you. You gotta believe in you. How I think about money. Yes. I'm so happy to hear that. Money is just energy. Sometimes people have a very difficult time manifesting money because they have a hard time being taken care of. They have hyper-independence wounds. They have trust wounds. They have abandonment wounds. And so you not receiving compliments from people, you not receiving love and support from others, you not receiving help from others, you are closing your receiving channels. You have to have open receiving channels. Like, if you want the universe to just send you like $5,000, like fun, whimsy, surprise, but your receiving channels are closed, it's not going to come in. That's a hard lesson I had to learn. Is like I was so hyper independent and I would never let anybody help me with anything because I needed to be hyper independent to survive for a long time. But like the universe, that higher version of you is like, hey, let me take care of you. Let me send you this money. But if you're closed off in other areas of your life, it affects your money. Because the universe is like, let me take care of you. And you're like, no. Okay? The universe is like constantly sending you people that are trying to help you. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. When I manifested those plane tickets a couple days ago, I had let it go to the universe, and I was like, okay, you help me take care you help me take care of this. If I had said no to that person that was offering me the airline miles, the rest of that manifestation is not going to come in, because money comes to you in all different types of forms. Like, did that money directly come into my hand? Technically, oh, it's 11:11. Oh, thank you for saying that. Technically no, but technically yes. Like, that was $1,000 worth of tickets. And I was like, thank you. And it was so easy. It was effortless. The person was like, here, use this. Right? But I also had to be okay with being taken care of. Like, that person that did that for me was the universe speaking through that person, taking care of me. And in the past, when I was like really living within my trauma wounds of abandonment, trust, and hyper independence, I would not have said yes to that. I would have been like, nope, the universe got me. Don't worry about it. They are the universe. They are the universe trying to help me and support me. So if I say no to somebody who is trying to do something wonderful and loving for me, well then, the universe is like, okay, well, you're not ready to receive that. I think it's because I grew up poor, so I'm stuck in that mindset. Yeah, that's the past. That's another thing. Like, sometimes we're carrying past narratives and stories of like how things affected us when we were younger, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying those things didn't happen. We do need to honor those things, but sometimes your inner children are thinking that they're still living in those time and space. Like, when I'm doing inner child healing sessions with people, I'll go in and connect with their children and we'll talk to them, and they think that trauma is still happening. They think that you are still living in your childhood experience. You got to come in and explain and show them different. Otherwise, it'll just keep happening. Same with me, though. I had to go in and be like, we are not living that life anymore. Okay? This is all confirmation that I'm on the right track. Also, the concept of money and blockages. Great. I'm so grateful for you, and the universe brings us together. Yay! I'm so glad to have you all here. Okay. All right. I'm going to hop off now. I'm so glad. Thank you all for coming together for this chat. Again, you can if you're watching this on YouTube, you can look down here in the description below for ways that we can work together to get your dreams going. Or if you want to download my money masterclass, it'll be down here in the description and show notes. Or for those of you that are here live, you can go to the top of my page. Oh, you're welcome. Thank y'all. I appreciate you very much. Okay, well, I will see y'all next time. Have a wonderful